You've been taught your whole life that love is something you find in someone else, that somewhere out there, someone is holding the missing piece of your soul, that when you meet the one, everything will click. Your fears will dissolve, your loneliness will vanish, and your life will finally feel complete. But what if that's the biggest lie you've ever been told? What if the truth is this? Real love doesn't start when someone else walks into your life. It begins the moment you decide to stop abandoning yourself. We live in a culture obsessed with romantic connection. Movies, songs, books, they all sell us the same fantasy, that love is about finding your other half. But if you believe that someone else is going to complete you, you are already setting yourself up for heartbreak, because no one can complete what you haven't yet claimed in yourself. Love that's rooted in emptiness becomes a transaction. Give me your attention so I can feel worthy. Give me your presence so I don't feel alone. Make me happy so I can avoid my own pain. That's not love. That's fear wearing a mask. And here's the hard part. Most relationships today are built on this very illusion. People don't enter relationships because they're overflowing with love. They enter because they're running from loneliness, from insecurity, from the terrifying silence of their own inner world. But love that begins as an escape always ends in pain. Because no matter how close someone gets to you, they can never fill the void you haven't dared to explore. That void, that ache you feel late at night when everything is quiet, that's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a message. It's your soul asking to be seen by you. The deepest relationships don't happen between two halves searching for completion. They happen between two whole people, two individuals who have stood in front of their own darkness and refused to look away, who have learned to love themselves so completely that they no longer need love. And because of that, they are finally free to give it. The most powerful love isn't needy. It doesn't cling. It doesn't demand or beg to be validated. It flows. It chooses. It offers itself as a gift, not a plea. And to get to that kind of love, you have to be willing to stand alone. So the real question isn't, when will I find love? The real question is, have I found myself yet? Because once you stop searching for someone to rescue you from yourself, something beautiful happens. You become the love you've been looking for. And from that place, love no longer becomes your lifeline. It becomes your legacy. Imagine sitting in a room, no noise, no distractions, no one to talk to, just you and your thoughts. For some, this sounds like peace. For others, it feels like punishment. And that's where the truth begins to surface. We fear being alone not because solitude is unbearable, but because facing ourselves feels unbearable. You see, there's a difference, an enormous, life-changing difference between solitude and loneliness. But most people have never learned to tell them apart. Loneliness is what we feel when we're disconnected from ourselves. It's not about being without people. It's about being without presence, our own. Solitude, on the other hand, is sacred. Solitude is the space where the noise finally stops and we hear what's real. But here's the problem. We've been conditioned to fear that space. We're taught that silence is something to be filled, that if you're alone, you're lacking, that happiness must come from someone else's presence, and if you don't have that, you're somehow broken. So we run, we scroll, we chase connection after connection, terrified of the emptiness we carry. But here's what no one tells you. That discomfort you feel in solitude, that ache, it's not emptiness. It's the voice of your soul, asking you to stop running and come home. Carl Jung said it best. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Solitude is how we make the unconscious conscious. It's where we meet the hidden parts of ourselves, the pain we've buried, the dreams we've silenced, the truths we've avoided. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but so is growth. So is healing. So is becoming who you were always meant to be. The people who fear solitude the most are often the ones who need it the most. Because until you can sit with yourself in silence and feel whole, you will keep looking for someone else to complete you. And that search will never end. It will only repeat in cycles of attachment, dependency, and heartbreak. But when you embrace solitude, something shifts. You begin to realize that you are not alone in that quiet. You are with the only person who will be with you for your entire life. you. You begin to reconnect with your intuition, your clarity, your center, and slowly loneliness transforms into strength, into self-respect, into inner peace. Solitude is not the absence of love. It is the place where love begins. Not the love you beg others for, but the love you finally remember to give yourself. So the next time silence scares you, don't run. Sit, breathe, listen. Because in that stillness, you're not lost. You're finally being found. Let's be honest. Life isn't easy. There are moments when it all feels too much. The rejection, the self-doubt, the ache of not being enough. And in those moments, we crave someone to save us. We long for love to arrive like a rescue boat, to pull us out of our pain and make everything okay. But what if I told you, real strength isn't found in being saved. It's found in saving yourself. That kind of strength doesn't come from a relationship or a partner or the perfect life. It's forged in the quiet furnace of solitude. Emotional resilience, the ability to stand tall in the storm, is not something we're born with. It's something we build. And solitude is where that building begins. Most people fear solitude because it strips away their distractions. No one is there to reassure you, no one to lean on. And that's exactly the point. Solitude forces you to confront the only person who can truly carry you through this life. You. It reveals your patterns, your fears, your unhealed wounds. And if you stay in it long enough, not escape, not numb, you begin to hear something deeper. Your own voice, your own strength, your own worth. You realize that resilience is not about never feeling pain. It's about learning how to hold your pain without letting it destroy you. It's about sitting with sadness without drowning, about hearing the voice of fear and still moving forward. And the only way to develop that kind of inner fortitude is by facing the parts of you that you've been avoiding. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And that's what solitude gives us, the space to face our darkness without judgment, to stop seeking love as a distraction from our brokenness, and instead to become whole on our own. Because here's the truth. The relationships that last are not built by two broken people looking to be fixed. They're built by two whole individuals who choose to grow together. Emotional resilience is not the absence of emotion. It's the maturity to understand it, to own it, and to not let it define you. When you build that within yourself, you no longer enter relationships out of need. You enter from a place of strength. You don't look for someone to complete you. You look for someone to grow with. Solitude is the training ground for that power. It's where you learn how to carry yourself through pain, to sit in the silence and not fall apart. It's where you develop the kind of self-trust that no breakup, no rejection, no storm can take from you. So ask yourself, are you building resilience or avoiding yourself? Because the strongest love doesn't come from what someone else gives you. It comes from the strength you discover when you stand alone and rise anyway. We've been told a lie, a beautiful, romantic, soul-crushing lie. That love is about finding your missing piece. That someone out there will complete you, fix you, rescue you from your emptiness. And so we chase love like it's oxygen. We think we'll finally be happy when we're in a relationship, when someone chooses us. But what if I told you, that's not love. That's emotional need. That's dependency wearing the mask of devotion. And it's the reason so many people feel alone, even when they're not. Real love isn't about being completed. It's about being whole and choosing to share that wholeness with another. Think about this. How many relationships have started from a place of fear? Fear of being alone, fear of never being loved, fear of not being enough unless someone else says you are. But when love is born from fear, it creates fragile bonds. We cling, we control, we compromise ourselves to keep someone from leaving, and slowly we disappear. The connection that once felt magical becomes heavy. The relationship that once felt safe becomes a battleground of unspoken expectations and unmet needs. But what if we flip the script? What if love wasn't a search for someone to fill the void, but an overflowing of who we already are? What if the goal wasn't to be chosen, but to choose freely, confidently, from a place of peace? When we embrace solitude, not as punishment, but as preparation, we stop chasing love like a lifeline. We start becoming love. We learn to enjoy our own company. We heal the wounds that used to scream for attention. We stop looking for someone to fix us and start discovering that we were never broken to begin with. And in that sacred space of inner stillness, something radical happens. We shift from needing love to offering it. That shift changes everything. Love born from wholeness doesn't demand, it offers. It doesn't grasp, it trusts. It doesn't complete, it expands. And only when we've learned to love ourselves in solitude can we truly love someone else in freedom. This is why the deepest relationships aren't made by people who can't live without each other. They're made by people who've learned to live fully with themselves and then choose to walk side by side. Their love is not a transaction, it's a celebration. So here's the truth. You are not half a person waiting to be completed. You are already whole. You don't need someone to rescue you. You need to remember who you are without them. Because the moment you stop searching for someone to make you feel worthy is the moment you'll attract someone who sees your worth. Love doesn't begin when someone else arrives. It begins the moment you come home to yourself. If you want to know what kind of love you're attracting, look at the relationship you have with yourself. Most people believe love is something you go out and find, like it's hiding behind a corner, waiting to sweep you off your feet. So we keep searching, swiping, falling, hoping. But what if love wasn't something out there at all? What if the love we attract is a mirror, reflecting the emotional space we carry within? Here's a difficult truth. If you fear being alone, you will attract people who fear it too. And those kinds of connections aren't built on strength. They're built on survival. They're built on unspoken needs, silent expectations, and quiet desperation. And deep down, you feel it. The subtle tension, the emotional volatility, the sense that if you stop trying so hard, the love might disappear. That's not conscious love. That's emotional codependence wrapped in romance. But something profound happens when you stop running from solitude and start embracing it. When you choose to sit in silence instead of chasing distraction, you meet the real you, the unfiltered version, the part of you that's not performing for anyone. And in that space, something shifts. You begin to unravel the wounds you used to hide. You face the patterns you used to repeat. You stop asking, why doesn't anyone love me? And start asking, have I truly loved myself? That's when you stop settling. That's when your energy changes. You're no longer trying to convince someone to stay. You're not begging for crumbs. You're not playing small just to be accepted. You become magnetic, not because you're perfect, but because you're whole. Conscious love is not born from need. It's born from alignment. And the irony? The more at peace you become in solitude, the more likely you are to attract someone who is equally whole. They won't come to fix you. They'll come to grow with you, to walk beside you, not out of fear, but from a deep, intentional choice. That's what makes it different. There's no pressure, no performing, just two people meeting each other as they are, because they've already met themselves. So if love hasn't found you yet, maybe you're being invited to find yourself first, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because the kind of love you've been longing for, the one that sees you, respects you, elevates you, can't reach you if you're still afraid of standing alone. It's not about being single forever. It's about being ready. Ready for a connection that doesn't drain you, but expands you. The partner you're meant for is not looking for someone to complete them. They're looking for someone who's already come home to themselves. Be that person, and love will find you, not when you're searching, but when you've stopped hiding. In 2025, the world is louder, faster, and more connected than ever before. And yet many people feel more emotionally lost and alone than they've ever been. We live in a time when relationships can start and end with a swipe, where validation is measured in likes, and where being constantly available is mistaken for being emotionally present. In this chaos, the story of embracing solitude before love isn't just poetic, it's essential. It's a quiet revolution against the noise. A reminder that to find a love that is real, conscious, and enduring, we must first become rooted in ourselves. This year, one of the most important things to pay attention to is why we're seeking love. Are we chasing it to fill a void, to escape the ache of loneliness, or are we cultivating it from a space of inner abundance? The difference matters, because in 2025, emotional intelligence, not just romantic chemistry, is the true currency of connection. The people who are thriving in love are not the most charming or attractive. They are the most self-aware. They've done the work. They've sat in solitude, learned their triggers, healed their inner child, and stopped outsourcing their worth to others. What the story teaches us is this: love isn't found in another person, it's reflected, which means we attract not what we want, but what we are. If we're insecure, we attract instability. If we're anxious, we attract uncertainty. But if we're grounded, whole, and unafraid of solitude, we attract partners who mirror that peace back to us. In 2025, pay attention to your relationship with yourself before you build one with someone else. Watch how you speak to yourself in silence. Notice whether your solitude feels sacred or unbearable. That discomfort? It's not a flaw. It's a message, an invitation to go deeper. Because the love you're searching for isn't outside of you. It's waiting in the parts of you you've been too distracted to meet. And when you finally meet yourself fully, 2025 may become the year love meets you too.